as you've seen so far, there's a lot that you can do to go about customizing our blog's sidebar, our themes sidebar here. And I want to show you a couple of neat things that we can do to further customize things. We want to take the idea of customizing this sidebar and go even further with it here. So what I'm going to do is, once again, keep your preview tab open inside your browser, and then head on over to your admin console there. And once again, I hope you're still inside your widgets screen. If not, head down to appearance and then into widgets. What I want to do here is, well, let me show you a couple of neat things here first before I get too far ahead of myself. What I can do here inside this sidebar, you can see that my sidebar is starting to look pretty cluttered in terms of all of the widgets that I've added in here. So you may have noticed this, but on the title bar for each of our widgets, over on the right-hand side, there's a little drop-down arrow. So if I click on that drop-down arrow, it'll actually collapse down that particular widget, which is extremely cool, and it looks a lot more tidy and a lot more organized. So this little drop-down arrow here will simply expand and collapse the individual widgets that we have sitting on our sidebar. So usually what I do after I drag a widget onto my sidebar is I throw in any customization options that I want, and then I collapse it down. So on the blogs that I run, my sidebars actually look like this. So it's a heck of a lot more tidy and a heck of a lot more organized. Okay, great. A few other things that I want to show you here. What if I decide that I don't want to have a widget on my sidebar anymore? Well, that's super easy. We already read about how to get rid of that when we first came into our widgets screen. All I'm going to do is take my widget here. I'm going to use my calendar for this example, and I'm going to take the calendar and simply drag him right off the sidebar and drop him over into this available widgets module, just like that. That's all there is to it, right? And then again, there's no update button to click or save changes button or anything like this. It's a done deal, so be careful with this. I'm going to head back to my live blog now, flip over there, and refresh. And then sure enough, now the calendar is gone, and now the first module, the first widget that sits over inside my sidebar is now the blog archive, right? So there's one way to get rid of your widgets from your sidebar. I'm just going to flip back over to my admin area. There's another way that you can get rid of these widgets from your sidebars. You can always expand your widgets, again, just by using that arrow on the right-hand side. And you have a delete option there as well. Basically does the same thing, so it's really entirely up to you. Now don't forget, if you take one of your widgets and you drag them off of the sidebar and then over into this available widgets module, not only are you getting rid of the widget, but you're also deleting all of your customization, right? So for example, the archives here, I gave this guy a unique title, and I also said that I wanted to show the post counts there as well, right? So if I take this guy and I drag him off into this available widgets box, I lose that customization, right? I'm just going to drag him back here. But maybe I want to remove this guy from the sidebar, but I want to keep his settings, his customization. So what I'll do instead is I'll drag him off of the sidebar, and I'll see if this is going to work for me here. I'm going to try and drag him all the way down into this inactive widgets module way down at the bottom of my screen. It was a little bit tricky to pull that off, but that's the idea there anyway. So that is a way to maintain those custom settings that you've set up for your widgets. Okay, hopefully all good. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention as well is as you're adding on widgets into your sidebar, as you're getting more and more widgets sort of crowding this right-hand side, you can always change the order of the widgets inside your sidebar. So, for example, right now I have categories, and then I have my meta widget. So then if I go back to my live blog for just a moment, and I refresh Command-R or Control-R, there we are. This is how things are looking. So I have my blog's categories. There's all the categories that we have. And then the metadata, right? Well, maybe for whatever reason, maybe I want the metadata to be first, and I want the blog categories to appear below that, right? So here's what I'm going to do. Back over on my admin tab here, all I'm going to do is take one of the categories and simply move it, change the order of it inside the sidebar. So here I just dragged categories below meta. So you can always rearrange the order of your modules here on the sidebar. It's really, really easy, very, very flexible. So hopefully all good. You can mess with that if you like.